When my cousin Vanessa discovered my $8 million crypto fortune at our family reunion, her demand for $500,000 to fund her startup turned our bond into a bitter showdown. I'm Marcus Tate, 32, a software developer living in Denver, Colorado. I'm not the loudest guy in the room, more of a listener, always tinkering with code or tracking Bitcoin charts in my spare time. My family's scattered across the Midwest, but we're tight-knit, or so I thought. Every 2 years, we gather at my parents' sprawling lake house in Michigan for a reunion. Think potlucks, cornhole, and too many stories about the good old days. My cousin Vanessa, 35, is the family's golden child. She's a Chicago-based influencer with a glossy Instagram feed full of yoga poses and smoothie bowls. Growing up, she was the cool older cousin who'd sneak me into concerts or let me tag along to parties. I looked up to her, even if she always had a knack for steering conversations back to herself. She's married to Greg, a finance bro who's nice enough but seems perpetually checked out. Their dynamic is intense. Vanessa's the spark, Greg's the socket. I've done well for myself. Back in 2015, I threw $5,000 into Bitcoin on a whim, mostly because I was bored and curious. By 2023, that gamble turned into $8 million. I kept it quiet, living modestly in a one-bedroom apartment and driving a beat-up Subaru. My parents know I'm comfortable, but not the extent. Vanessa, though, she had no clue, until the reunion. The reunion was in full swing on a humid July afternoon. The lake house smelled like grilled burgers and sunscreen. Kids splashed in the water, and my uncles argued over fantasy football drafts. I was nursing a beer by the dock, chatting with my brother Jamal about his new job, when Vanessa sauntered over, her sundress flowing like she was auditioning for a rom-com. "Marcus, you're so quiet these days," she teased, plopping down beside me. "What's the deal? Got a secret girlfriend or something?" I laughed it off. "Nah, just keeping it low-key." She squinted at me, her hazel eyes sharp. "Low-key? You're always hiding something. Remember when you wouldn't tell me about that crush you had in high school?" I shrugged, hoping she'd drop it. But Vanessa's like a bloodhound with gossip. She leaned closer, her voice dropping. "Come on, spill. You've got that mysterious vibe lately." I should have known better than to engage. "Just work. Ness, coding, you know." She wasn't buying it. Later that evening, around the bonfire, things took a turn. My cousin Derek, who's never met a boundary he didn't cross, started bragging about his latest stock picks. The conversation shifted to crypto, and he turned to me. "Yo, Marcus, didn't you mess with Bitcoin back in the day?" My stomach dropped. "Yeah, a little," I mumbled, poking the fire. "A little?" Derek laughed. "Dude, you were obsessed. Bet you're sitting on a gold mine now." Vanessa's head snapped up. "Wait, what? Marcus? You're into crypto?" I tried to deflect. "It's not a big deal, just some investments." But Derek, oblivious, kept going. "Man, if you bought in early, you're probably loaded. Bitcoin's what, like 60K now?" The air shifted. Vanessa's smile tightened, and I felt her eyes boring into me. "How much are we talking, Marcus?" she asked, her tone syrupy, but edged. I dodged. "Not enough to retire to Fiji, that's for sure." She didn't laugh. The next morning, while I was grabbing coffee in the kitchen, Vanessa cornered me. She was in workout gear, her hair in a perfect bun, but her vibe was all business. "Marcus, we need to talk," she said, closing the door behind her. "About what?" I asked, stirring my coffee. "Don't play dumb. Derek told me you've got millions in crypto." "Millions." I froze. "Derek, you idiot." "He's exaggerating," I said, but my voice wavered. "Cut the crap," she snapped. "I did the math. If you bought in early, you're sitting on at least 8 mil, right?" I stared at her, stunned. How did she? "Ness, it's not your business." "Not my business?" Her voice rose, then dropped to a hiss. "You're my cousin. We grew up together. I was there for you, Marcus. When you were a nerdy kid getting bullied, when you needed a prom date, I inspired you to take risks, to be bold. And now you're hoarding millions while I'm hustling to fund my startup?" I blinked. "Your startup?" "Yeah," she said, folding her arms. "I'm launching a wellness app. It's revolutionary. Meditation, nutrition, all in one. I need $500,000 to get it off the ground. You could fund it tomorrow and not even blink." I set my mug down, my heart racing. Vanessa, I worked hard for what I have. I'm not a bank. Her face twisted. Worked hard? You got lucky. You owe me, Marcus. I made you who you are. The entitlement hit me like a slap. You're serious? Dead serious, she said, stepping closer. If you don't help me, I'll make sure everyone knows you're a selfish prick sitting on a fortune while your family struggles. I laughed, bitter. Struggles? You live in a Gold Coast condo. It's not enough, she shouted, then caught herself. You don't get it. This app is my legacy. You'd be investing in family. The kitchen felt too small. I wanted to run, but her words echoed. You owe me. I stood there, coffee going cold, my mind spinning. Vanessa's ultimatum hung in the air like smoke. Part of me wanted to cave. Family's family, right? But her tone, her assumption that my money was hers to claim, lit a fire in me I didn't know I had. Ness, I said, slow and steady. I don't owe you anything. I'm sorry your startup's struggling, but that's not my burden. Her jaw dropped. You're kidding. You're gonna let me fail? I'm not letting you do anything, I said. You're asking me to hand over $500,000 because we're cousins? That's not how this works. She stepped closer, her voice low and venomous. You think you're better than me? Now? Mr. Crypto King, hiding in your cheap flannel shirts? I made you, Marcus. You were a nobody without me. That stung. She wasn't wrong about our past. She'd been my lifeline as a kid. But this? This was extortion dressed up as family. Loyalty. I took a deep breath, channeling every ounce of calm I could muster. Vanessa, I love you. But I'm not your ATM. I've got my own plans for that money. Charities, investments, maybe a house someday. I'm not hoarding it. I'm being smart. Her eyes narrowed. Smart? You're selfish. You'll regret this. I didn't flinch. If you want to play hardball, go ahead. Tell the family. I'll survive. She stormed out, slamming the door. I sank into a chair, my hands shaking. Had I just torched our relationship? I spent the rest of the day avoiding her, sticking to safe corners of the reunion, helping my mom with dishes, playing cards with my nephews. But Vanessa's words gnawed at me. You owe me. That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat on the porch, staring at the lake, replaying our fight. Was I wrong? Should I have offered her something smaller, like $50,000, to keep the peace? But every time I considered it, I saw her smug face, demanding what wasn't hers. I'd worked hard, taken risks, and gotten lucky. But that didn't make my money her birthright. By morning, I'd made up my mind. I wasn't backing down, but I'd try to de-escalate. I found her by the coffee bar, scrolling her phone. Ness, can we talk? I asked. She barely looked up. Unless you're cutting a check, no. I sighed. I don't want this to ruin us. Can we at least discuss it calmly? Calmly? She laughed, cold. You're the one screwing me over. I walked away, my chest tight. I'd tried. If she wanted a war, I wasn't fighting. But deep down, I knew this wasn't over. Vanessa didn't waste time. By lunch, whispers were spreading. My Aunt Linda pulled me aside, frowning. Marcus, is it true you're a millionaire and won't help Vanessa? I groaned. It's complicated, Aunt Linda. Family helps family, she said, shaking her head. Derek, the loudmouth, was worse. Dude, you're loaded and you're holding out, cold. I tried explaining. My money, my choices, but it was like shouting into a void. Vanessa had spun the narrative. I was the greedy crypto bro, and she was the struggling entrepreneur. My parents, bless them, stayed neutral. It's your money, Marcus, my dad said. But maybe talk to her again. Vanessa didn't let up. That evening, she posted a cryptic Instagram story. When family turns their back on you, hustle alone. Greg, her husband, pulled me aside later, looking exhausted. She's pissed, man. She thinks you're punishing her for being ambitious. Ambitious? I snapped. She demanded $500,000. Greg winced. Yeah, she's intense. Just give her time. Time didn't help. By the reunion's end, Half the family was giving me side-eye. Vanessa played the victim masterfully, tearing up during the farewell brunch about her dreams being crushed. My cousins patted her back while shooting me glares. I felt like an outsider at my own family's party. The worst came a week later. Vanessa texted me a screenshot of an email she'd sent to a crypto blog, pitching a story. My cousin's $8 Bitcoin secret. You wouldn't, I texted back. Try me, she replied. I was livid but stuck. If I funded her, I'd be rewarding. Blackmail. If I didn't, she'd drag my name. My brother Jamal, my voice of reason, called me. She's bluffing, he said. But if she posts, it'll blow over. You're not the villain here. I wasn't so sure. Social media loves a juicy family feud, and Vanessa had the followers to make it viral. I spent weeks on edge, checking Vanessa's socials like a stalker. She didn't post the blog story, but she kept up the passive-aggressive jabs, quotes about loyalty and greed on her Instagram. I muted her, but the damage was done. Family group chats were chilly, with cousins taking her side or staying silent. I felt like I'd lost half my family over money I'd earned fair and square. I leaned on Jamal and my parents, who urged me to hold my ground. She's always been dramatic, my mom said. She'll cool off. But I wasn't sure. Vanessa's pride was wounded, and she wasn't the forgiving type. I started researching her startup out of curiosity. It was vague, a wellness app with no clear edge over competitors. Her crowdfunding page had raised $12,000 in 6 months, nowhere near her goal. I felt a pang of guilt. Maybe I could have offered advice instead of shutting her down. But her demand, her threats, made that impossible. I decided to protect myself. I moved most of my crypto to a cold wallet, consulted a lawyer about defamation risks, and kept screenshots of Vanessa's texts. I wasn't going to be bullied. Months later, I got a call from Greg. Vanessa's app had flopped. She'd burned through her savings and was taking a break from social media. He sounded drained. She's embarrassed, Marcus. She knows. She overstepped. Does she? I asked, skeptical. She won't admit it, but yeah. Maybe reach out? I did, against my better judgment. I sent her a text. Hey, Ness. I don't want bad blood. Can we talk? Her reply was curt. Maybe someday. I'm busy. That was a year ago. We haven't spoken since. The family's slowly warming back up to me, but it's not the same. I'm still the crypto guy to some, the selfish one to others. I've started donating anonymously to local charities, food banks, coding camps for kids, to feel less like the villain Vanessa painted me as. Looking back, I don't regret standing my ground, but I miss the old Vanessa, the one who'd blast music and dance with me at family barbecues. I wonder if I could have handled it differently, offered a small loan, set boundaries. But her entitlement, her threats, showed me a side of her I can't unsee. I'm more guarded now, less trusting. My crypto's still there, growing quietly, but it feels less like a blessing and more like a secret I have to guard. Family's supposed to be your safe place, but sometimes it's where the deepest cuts come from. Maybe one day, Vanessa and I will talk again. Maybe not. For now, I'm focusing on my own path, building, giving, living. And if I ever hit another reunion, I'm keeping my damn mouth shut about Bitcoin.